Alrighty, and we are live. Welcome in, everybody, for another edition of the Young Guns Podcast, episode 92. I was thinking about it, Kush. Should we section it off into like seasons, like other
Like
podcasts, or
starting next year or
right,
no?
right? You know what
We
I
definitely
mean?
should. We should.
Because
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 I was
then this
thinking
thing's
about it
gonna
as well.
reach
I'm
all the
like,
way up there. Like, what the
yeah.
hell?
Well, listen, we're about to hit episode 100 soon. So as soon as we hit episode 100, bro, guess what? There is no 101. It's going to be, we're just going to label it. What do we label it, bro? Do we label it
We
season
call it.
3?
Do
Then
we
people are
just
going to
call
be like, what was season 1 and 2?
it? Season 1 and 2 was combined.
We'll just label it season 2022, bro. Who cares?
I guess so. Yeah, something. We'll
You know what
figure
I'm
something
saying?
out. Yeah, we'll
2022
figure something
season.
out.
Episode 2022 season episode 1. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I
Actually,
also
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I want to put it on like actual audio podcast websites, like, take the MP3 file and put it up there as well. And
Yeah. I
you
used to do that
can't
with
have like
Spotify.
episode 147 or something.
Right. I used to do that with Spotify. We could honestly do that. We can.
It's
I
very
don't know.
easy to distribute
Yeah.
on like
Yeah, use
the
Anchor.
audio
I
sites.
used to use Anchor, and Anchor would promote it everywhere. I wouldn't even.
I
Have
used
to
to use
an account.
Anchor as well back in the day.
Yeah. Tudo with the early super chat. Before we get on to that, Tudo, let me highlight the people who were in the chat before we even went live. And that was Jaden the Champ in the building, Blue Wave, and I saw Super Taj World in the building as well. Tudo, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. We're gonna get into some Giant stuff in just a second, guys. As much as there is Giants news out there in the past week, we're gonna try to dig our way through.
By the way, I know y'all see it, so I'll just say it before somebody points it out. Yes, business in the front. Party.
Oh, yeah, party in the back.
Nah, listen, I literally have not gotten a haircut, and I want to say a couple weeks is gonna be in a whole year. I guess this is just as big as my hair is gonna get. Like, it's just gonna keep getting curlier and curlier.
Are you trying to get to something? Are you?
Yeah, I want it to be actually long, not just big and poofy. But like,
so
if
you're
the
in the
year
in
mark
between?
comes, what you mean?
Are you in the in between phase right now? Because I used to have my hair long too, and there was always this in between phase where you don't really know what exactly to do with your hair because it's too long. It's not too long. It's not too short. It's right in between.
Kind
so
of.
You don't really.
Yeah, and then I also gotta like this weekend. I'm definitely gonna go and get a shape up with the beard and the mustache as well. It's
Mine is getting weird.
messy.
Mine is getting all patchy and stuff like that. I might just get rid of it. So
I was thinking about getting around, but I'm like, nah, I gotta keep it with the long hair, man.
Yeah, my barber sometimes just feels like out of pity, and he just like trims it up for me for free. He's like, dude, let me just do this for you. But Tudo with the $5 super chat. I am not even going to attempt to say this. I might plug this into freaking Google Translate because I'm not Italian. At least there's no way.
Spanish is a Romance language, bro, and Italian is a Romance language as well.
That is not even close to Spanish. I don't even know how to. IP grande. IP grande. IP grande.
I think the I is pronounced as like E, grandi, like Y in Spanish. Grandi, I think I want to say.
Grandi.
Man, I need to get new glasses. These frames are out of whack.
Saluti Kushi KB, il re del intrattenimento sportivo de New York. Andiamo squadra dei New York Giants. That was the best I can do. And nobody remember what I just said because I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Tudo, if I totally just
So according to Google Translate, what it means is biggest greetings, Christian KB, the king of New York City sports entertainment. Let's go, New York Giants. That's what he said.
Oh, I see. So rey. So that's supposed to be rey. So king in Spanish is rey with R-E-Y. So that's I guess how they say king is R-E.
Interesting. And squadro, I guess squadro is kind of like squadron in English. Yeah. Squad, yeah, team.
Yeah, like team. Yeah, sport, obviously sport too. Okay. And D, we use D-E, and they use.
I told you they're similar, bro.
It is similar, but then when you look at it, you're just like, what the heck? All right, but shout out to you two though. You're one of the goats in there, man. KBS had a member chat. All right, let me open it up real quick right now in my let me go to the YouTube chat right now because I'm in the see, now I know what you're talking about and how to find that. Okay, Mike Nixon with the I can't highlight it, unfortunately, Mike, because it does StreamYard doesn't allow me to. But Mike Nixon says, "You're KB and Kush. I'm so ready for this season. I'm calling it Saquon Barkley having 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Mark my words." And honestly, the way they're promoting Saquon and the way the beat writers are talking about Saquon Barkley, it almost feels like it's like a guarantee, a lock that Saquon's going to have the opportunity to get a 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Because just how much you think, they're going to be using him. They're putting him at slot receiver, and they're going to be using him out the backfield, and we're going to see what happens with Saquon Barkley, man. But hopefully he can get 2,000 scrimmage yards. I mean, that'd be great for us. That'd be great. And it's not like he can't do that. He's capable of doing so. He's obviously capable of doing so. So
I like the word that you used, which was opportunity, right? Because I think yes, that's just the correct phrase to use, because he hasn't had the opportunity to do anything since his rookie year, where even in that you could argue there was really no opportunity. It was just his pure talent and skill and athleticism that got him over all the hurdles that was the offensive line and blocking, and the fact that he was a brand new commodity to the league, so nobody really knew how he played, how to defend against him and whatnot. That's what got him to the 2,000 yards. Since then, they learned how to defend against him. They learned, his ticks. They learned where he's going on the field. The line got worse. Quarterback play got worse. Injuries happened the next 2 years. So, yeah, the opportunity is going to be there in that we definitely have a better offensive line. This is 100% the best offensive line we've had in the past 4 or 5 years, essentially since 2018, and which means it's a better offensive line than he had his rookie year, which I believe as well. And hopefully, just with that alone, quarterback play is going to improve. You're going to have more running lanes. Wide receiver is going to be able to get more open. Just everything on the offensive side of the ball, along with coaching, is going to favor him. Because even though Brian Daboll didn't run the ball too much in Buffalo, when he did, he could get creative with it. And then with Mike Kafka, same thing. The Chiefs could get creative, and they do run the ball more than Buffalo, without a shadow of a doubt. They have a pretty balanced offense in Kansas City. So we'll see. The opportunity is going to be there. If he could stay healthy, I think he's more than capable of doing it because of the fact that he's done it before. We'll have to see how he's used in this offense, though.
Yeah, and a question to you, too, is, we've seen in Buffalo, we seen the running back by committee sort of thing. Do you see the same thing happening in New York with Saquon, or do you think he'll be a workhorse?
I definitely could see a running back by committee, and this might sound contradictory to some people, but you could still have a running back by committee and still have one dude have 2,000 yards from scrimmage.
Right.
Like, Saquon could be the number one back in a committee, have like 1,200 rushing yards, 1,300 at most, I want to say, because it still is a committee, so those guys are going to be getting touches. And then he gets the rest in the receiving game, which for sure Brian Daboll always uses his running backs in receiving. Devin Singletary, when you think of him, he's like a receiving back. He's a smaller running back. He could has that agile and quickness to run routes and whatnot, but he's gonna be like way more involved because we've seen it. Like, there's no need to get into a deep analysis with this as Giants fans. We saw it from 2018, his rookie year, to 2019. Although he was injured very early on in 2019. There was a drop off in how much he was utilizing the passing game to 2020, where he was injured basically in game 1, game 2. So small sample size, can't tell much, but I guarantee you, if he was healthy, Jason Garrett was not going to use him in the passing game, because our worst fears came true. Garrett wanted an Ezekiel Elliott type back, hence the type of running backs that we signed, and the fact that they always ran up the middle, even when Saquon was healthy, always ran up the middle. It's like that's not his style, that's not his game, that's not where he's going to succeed. So I know for a fact they weren't going to use him in the passing game.
Yeah, and it excites me too that we actually have a decent backfield behind him. Like, just having Matt Breida alone, I think, is an upgrade over even a guy like Wayne Gallman. And I know Wayne Gallman did a really good job in relief of Saquon Barkley, especially in that 2020 season where we thought Wayne Gallman was like, damn, this guy is probably better than Saquon, But just New York fans thought that. But Matt Breida, coming in and helping out in the run game as well, does a lot. This is a guy that, like, averaged. He had one of the highest yards per carry in the NFL when he was with the 49ers for a couple of seasons, and he would always eventually, fall off or get hurt or something like that. But he always started the season strong. I can definitely see him being a really good number 2
How
back.
he's 25, right?
Matt
25,
Breida,
26?
yeah, I think he's sort of young too, yeah. So, and that's I love that addition of him in the backfield, and then you add around some guys that could be blooming soon, like Antonio Williams or whoever else is in that backfield. A lot of people like Deshaun Corbin. He hasn't really made much noise in camp lately. I haven't even heard too much about him, but he's the only running back that we signed from the undrafted free agent pool. But yeah, man.
I was gonna say with Matt Breida, not just the age, but because of the fact he hasn't gotten an opportunity essentially since the 49ers. Even when he was over with the Bills, he didn't get much of a chance to run the football.
Right. I think he's with a
means a lot less mileage on him, which is a good thing for us. Yeah, with the Dolphins as well.
Yeah,
he doesn't got that much mileage on his legs, man.
That's weird, though. That now that you mentioned, that's weird why they haven't really used him as much because, like I said, with the 49ers and the Niners always have a really good scheme and run game. But this guy always had 5 yards per carry every single, always averaged 5 yards a carry. It was ridiculous. So I don't know why they didn't use him. But yeah, I'm really excited about having them two in the backfield. But there is some news. Not much, guys. So. We're going to try to get into this as much as we can, try to go into all the details as much as we can, but there is some news here. We heard Brian Daboll. I'm sure you heard your favorite Giants YouTuber talk about it. Brian Daboll said, and I believe this was a presser, right? I guess somebody asked him about, Daniel Jones and his mistakes and stuff like that. And, Brian Daboll pretty much said, we want Daniel Jones to turn it loose. We want him to not be afraid of making mistakes. If you see the right read, you attack that read and put your trust in the receiver's hands and go out there, try to push the ball down the field. Now, I'm going to respond to this in the most honest way possible. New York fans think they like this and they're not going to. New York fans think they like this and they're not, especially the reactionary ones. They're not going to like this because why do people automatically think that, oh man, he's telling Daniel Jones to just let it loose, just unleash yourself. That means trial and error, man. That means there's going to be a lot of mistakes made. There's going to be interceptions. There's going to be wonky throws. There's going to be, gunslingers are like that. Brett Favre, Eli, right? These guys push the ball downfield, they take risks, and they're going to throw interceptions. This is why Eli and Brett Favre is one of the, higher up in the interceptions list all time, because that's what they do. That's what they do. And I have a feeling that Giants fans are going to say oh, we want to see Daniel Jones just throw it downfield and take some risk. We don't really care. Just throw the ball downfield. But the moment he throws his first interception, oh my God, I knew it. Oh, what kind of throw was that? And stuff like that. I don't know. I think in reality, this is a good thing that Brian Daboll is doing. I just think New York fans think they like this, but they're not going to on game day. But
here's the reason New York fans think they like it. And it has more to do with Daniel Jones fans, and it's that they just want to see this man succeed so badly. And there's New York fans that are Daniel Jones supporters, and then there's New York fans that are Daniel Jones fans. The difference is Daniel Jones supporters, I will call us Daniel Jones supporters. We want to see him succeed. We obviously wish the best for him, and we do think he has the best opportunity going into this year in terms of personnel and coaching. However, we also recognize what he's done to not help himself, the mistakes he makes, and everywhere he has to improve. And we're like, if he doesn't basically deliver a great, an elite performance this year, he's not going to back. The Daniel Jones fans, on the other hand, they're 110% in on this guy. And getting back to what you were saying, this gunslinger thing that they like, it's because they realize that is where his highest potential lays. And KB, you notice, I've been saying this, I want to say, for at least a year and a half now. On this podcast, on my channel, throughout videos, recaps, reactions to games, previews to games, my own Just Chillin' podcast. I've been saying this, and I don't know if there's anybody else that said it before me, because like I said, I've been saying it for at least a year, more than a year. If there is, definitely point them out. I need to go shake their hand. But I've always said that the Giants, when they brought in Jason Garrett, made the worst decision regarding Daniel Jones by trying to limit his turnovers and turning him into a game manager, turning him into what I always called year one Dak Prescott, because that's what I saw, and I'm connecting it to Jason Garrett. But also go back and look at year one Dak Prescott. He's nothing like the current Dak Prescott. Current Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback, whether you like it or not. And he's a guy that could get that ball down the field. He is not a game manager. Not at all a game manager. Somebody that at one point was leading one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL, whether it was last year or 2 years ago, I forget. That is not a game manager. Rookie year Dak Prescott was check down master, always made the right decisions, and always had things scripted for him. That was Daniel Jones since Jason Garrett got here. And then, of course, you had the Golden Tate interview a couple weeks ago. I can't remember if it was on Good Morning Football or one of those other football talk shows, where Golden Tate literally came out and basically confirmed this idea that I've been saying for a while, which is that the Giants, in his time there, which I want to say was the end of Shermer, beginning of Garrett, right? He was here 2019 to 2020. They were like, they always micromanaged him. They had him with kid gloves, and that just reinforces what I was thinking. What they were trying to do is, once again, turning him into a guy that doesn't make much mistakes, because they were so scared by the fumbles. He didn't really have that many interceptions, in my opinion. Like, I feel like he was fine with tossing the ball down the field, but they were trying to limit the mistakes is what they were trying to do.
Right.
By doing that, essentially trying to raise his floor, I always said they were collapsing his ceiling. Because as a gunslinger, as a risk taker, which is what he was in college, which is what he was in his rookie year 2019, we saw like, yo, this kid has tons of potential. The ceiling is a little bit up there. If whether or not he could get to that is a different story, but that potential is there. But the moment they start turning him into a game manager is never going to have the same potential as a gunslinger. That's like all the way down here. That's all the way down here. And that is why they like that idea so much, because they know the most successful version of Daniel Jones is going to be one that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, and it seems like, I don't know why people have this thought or sort of conclusion that Daniel Jones is a game manager. I mean, that's honestly not what I see in him as a quarterback. He's definitely a gunslinger. He's definitely a guy to go on and take risks. So, yeah, I definitely support that. And obviously, Jason Garrett's scheme, I understand the intent of the Joe Judge regime and Jason Garrett's scheme of trying to fix Daniel Jones, because obviously the biggest thing that everybody screamed at was the turnovers, right? Like you said, and they were trying to limit that, but they were trying to suppress a weakness, but not help out one of his strengths. They're trying to suppress his turnovers, but they really didn't care about him throwing down the field. They were just like, hey, in order for you to stop throwing interceptions, we need to put some comeback routes for you. We need to put some curl routes for you. We need to do all these spot routes for you and stuff like that, so you don't throw interceptions and they don't try to fire us. And then that's how we'll move down the field. And that honestly did not work. I like Brian Daboll's approach to things. Man, it just feels like a different vibe, man. It really does. This whole regime, and I guess a lot of people can say that about every regime that comes in here for any team, right? When you get a new head coach, you're like, man, something just feels different. But I don't know, especially the way that Brian Daboll carries himself. He's more laid back. He's like the total opposite of Joe Judge, way more laid back. Not like so hard on the rules. He's not a guy that puts out discipline. There's always a thing that I learned, especially when I've been around a lot of coaches, like in high school or out of high school, and I used to watch coaches, stuff like that. There are coaches that demand respect out of fear, and there are coaches that just earn respect, right? They're just guys that, like, they're such good people. They're such like good leaders that you're not forced to like obey him, or you're not forced to follow him. You want to follow him, right? Joe Judge, kind of bamboozled me. I thought he was like a leader of men sort of guy, but it almost looked like he was a guy that was
everybody.
Yeah, he almost looked like a guy now, looking back on it, a guy that kind of forced sort of respect and stuff like that. But you look at Brian Daboll, he's not forcing anybody to bow down. He's not making anybody run laps. He's not, you make one mistake. I've seen a couple of articles. There are players that made mistakes and they were able to get another opportunity right after that. Like, it's so more laid back, more forgiving. You're allowed to make mistakes. A lot of players sometimes are afraid to make mistakes, so they're never able to show their true potential. You're never able to learn if you don't try new things, if you don't try your hardest in things and not be afraid to fail. And I don't know, it just feels like a whole different feeling with Brian Daboll, man. It just feels like a whole
I'm glad
different
you brought up the
atmosphere.
two coaches things and how they not necessarily demand, but just how they get respect, right? This is gonna sound how do I put this? This is gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna use a basketball example that I came across recently because everybody knows SB Nation, right? Great channel for literally every single sport. They do the Rewind series, which is one of my favorite series to watch. Like, this is a moment in history. They do the Beef History series, which is what I'm about to reference right now. They do I think it's called Stats Town or something like that. Just like, if you don't know about SB Nation, check them out. I'm sure you've seen one of their videos before and you don't actually know who they are. Highly recommend. Love them. Beef History and Rewind are two of my favorite things to watch on YouTube at high quality production. These guys should be on like HBO or something. Either way, their most recent episode of Beef History was between Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, and Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy, when Shaq was traded to the Miami Heat in 2005, was the coach of the Miami Heat. One of the things that Shaq said, or sort of heavily implied, about one of the reasons he never liked Stan Van Gundy and, had a problem with him, was that he was not a proven commodity. He wasn't a proven guy. And Shaq even wrote in his book and said in interviews years later after he left the Heat, after Stan Van Gundy was no longer the coach of the Heat, he's like, guys in the locker rooms, they like people that know what they're doing, and they like people that have shown to know what they're doing. They like a proven commodity. That's Stan Van Gundy versus a guy like Pat Riley, who became the coach of the Heat right after. Pat Riley, for those of you that don't know, was the coach of those successful Lakers teams back in the 80s. He was also the coach of the Miami Heat team with Shaq and Dwayne Wade that won title in 2006. And he's just like a Miami Heat and Lakers legend. He was a proven commodity, a guy that knows what he's doing and that players look up to, like, as this figure. Brian Daboll is not at that level because he has yet to win a championship, but players know of Brian Daboll's success. The Stan Van Gundy in this situation is Joe Judge. What I'm basically saying is there's some players, or maybe all players, we don't know, but it's definitely in their mind, they're like, this guy knows what he's doing. This other guy came out of nowhere.
Right. And then especially the more recent success, right? You look at Buffalo and the show they put on this year offensively. I mean, it put the world on notice. You look at especially in that playoff game. What was that? That was a divisional game, wasn't it?
Buffalo, yeah, the divisional game.
That was a divisional. That wasn't even the championship. The divisional game. And
I remember what you're talking about because every single Giants fan was looking at the divisional game to see what the offense was gonna do.
And we knew that was gonna be our coach.
Yeah, halfway through the game, we're like, this is our next head coach. In the divisional round of the playoffs, halfway through the game, everybody was like, he earned himself the job.
Yeah.
Even if they lose, they did end up losing, right? But we're like, he earned himself the job.
They ended up losing, but not because of him.
The best offense I've seen in my life.
Yeah, they ended up losing, but not because of the offense. That was definitely, not in his control at all. And so, I mean, and on top of that, you look at everybody was watching. It was a playoff game. It was a divisional round at prime time, late at night, right? Everybody was watching it. It broke NFL Twitter that this freaking game is going to go down as one of like the top 10 games of all time, and Brian Daboll is a huge part of that. And so all these NFL players are looking at that, especially the players that we have now, I'm sure have watched that game and said, this guy knows what the hell he's doing. All right. I know, and especially look at Josh Allen's development. Okay. Of course, you got to give a lot of credit to Josh Allen for developing into the quarterback that he is now. There's no doubt in my mind that he helped himself to get to that level. But there are mentors that help him along the way, and no doubt in my mind, Brian Daboll is a huge part of that to help him develop. Brian Daboll got there right around when Josh Allen got there. If I'm not mistaken, they may have gotten there the same year, or maybe Brian Daboll was there a year before. I'm not sure. Or maybe Josh Allen was there a year before. I don't know. But I know they got there around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at Josh Allen's development. Josh Allen, I say this all the time. The first 2 years of Josh Allen's career, everyone was just about ready to label him a bust. That's how bad downhill Josh Allen's career was headed. And then year 3, it was like a light bulb just went off. And everybody can freaking fact check this. You can go freaking years ago and then look at the end of Josh Allen's sophomore year. A lot of people were ready to call it quits on Josh Allen and say he was a bust. Freaking year 3, they got Stephon Diggs. They were able to work out that offense. Brian Daboll put in the work there, and even if they decide to not run the ball as much as they should, they just gunslinger mentality, right? Like what we want from Daniel Jones, just throw the ball, and just take some chances. And Josh Allen got it going, and I think Brian Daboll was a huge part of that. Huge part of that. And so, like I said, man, it's just a different vibe coming here with the New York Giants, man. I'm honestly, as a Giants fan, I'm holding my head up high for this regime, man. I really am. I mean, even if Daniel Jones is not the guy, whatever quarterback we bring in here in the near future, I have no doubt in my mind. I think Brian Daboll is going to do a good job with him. Of course, the best case scenario is that Daniel Jones is the guy, and we don't have to search for another quarterback. Which I wanted to talk about that too, because it seems like we always talk about it anyway, but I still want to talk about it because it's been coming up in like more mainstream news lately. I know Dan Orlovsky talked about it. I didn't quite catch the video on it that he talked about it, but he did say that he doesn't see Daniel Jones remaining a New York Giant. I don't know if he gave up like a standard Daniel Jones needed to reach to stay a New York Giant. He just said that he just
repeat what you said. What did he say?
Dan Orlovsky says that Daniel Jones will not remain a New York Giant after this year. And so I mean that's not a bad take at all. I mean it's totally acceptable. But like I wanted to get your thoughts on it because although technically the best case scenario is that Daniel Jones is the guy, but is it the best case scenario? Like I'm just putting that into question.
The best case scenario. Here's the thing: the best case scenario for Daniel Jones is that Daniel Jones is the guy.
Right.
The best case scenario for the New York Giants is that within the next 2 years we find a franchise quarterback that could take us to the playoffs.
Right.
That could be Daniel Jones. That could be somebody else.
Right. Because I was thinking about it myself, and I was like, everybody keeps saying, I'm in a lot of lives on Twitter, stuff like that. Everybody's saying the best case scenario, the best possible thing for the Giants is that Daniel Jones is the guy. And I put that into a little bit of a question. I'm just like, but is it though? He's on the last year of his deal. I mean, unless he has like a Josh Allen type turnaround where he is like playing like Josh Allen, then and that's a really, really high standard, right? That's a really high sort of expectation to put on Daniel Jones for him to be that guy, the best case scenario type guy. But coming into his 4th year as the Giants quarterback, and say if he has a decent year where it's maybe it's better than his rookie year, right? He cuts down on the turnovers. Maybe he has like 3 more passing touchdowns. You get like 27 touchdowns. Let's say 27 touchdowns, right around 12 or 13 interceptions like he had his rookie year as well. And maybe just a more decent year than he did his rookie year. I mean, is it that much more encouraging for him to be our franchise quarterback? I mean, those are pedestrian numbers, right? 27 and 13 is actually pretty good, but it's like after all the, I guess, kind of low lights that Daniel Jones has had throughout his career, we really want to see something that is extraordinary. We really want to see something that like jumps off the page for him to outweigh everything that all the bad things that he did, with this team in the past couple of years, as far as like the turnovers and stuff like that, and not pushing the ball downfield and stuff like that, and him not being able to win bigger games and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just want to get your take on that. It's just like, I don't know. Here's a very weird question. I want to phrase this very carefully because people are going to think, oh, you're not a Giants fan. Oh, you're a Giants fan. And I'm not even going to say you're not a Giants fan either. I'm saying, do you want Daniel Jones to have a decent season? Like, do you want him to have a decent season to the point where he's resigned?
No. I don't want a
That's
decent season from Daniel Jones.
that's a
I want a great season
you
from
want
Daniel
you
Jones.
you want a
I
great
don't want a
season.
decent season to the point where he gets re-signed. I want a great season to the point where he gets like a legitimate extension. A decent season to the point where he gets re-signed, I'll be honest with you, is one of the worst case scenarios for me.
Thank
Because
you.
that means he
Thank you.
did just good enough to re-sign him. That's literally what it is. Like he did just good enough to be re-signed. He probably gave us a little over 4,000 yards passing, a couple hundred rushing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like 26, 27 touchdowns, like 13, 14 interceptions, something like
Mm-hmm.
that, like 3 fumbles, 4 fumbles on the year for him. We finished with like a anywhere between 6 to 8 win record,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly, that is kind of what I see our team as. I'm gonna keep it real with
And
you,
think
6 to
about
8 win
how
team, right?
likely that is, though. Think about how
That is
likely
very
that is
likely. Yeah, that is very
for him to
likely.
have that type of season, though.
But the type of season that I want him to have is like 4,500 and above yards, 27 and above, preferably like 30 to 30 some touchdowns. I don't
Yeah.
want nobody telling me that I'm asking for something too high because in today's NFL, which is
Yeah,
a
it shouldn't be.
passing league,
Especially the way that
which
Brian
which
Daboll
is
runs his
which
offense.
is catered specifically to quarterbacks passing. We talk about inflated numbers all the time, but in the same breath, people want to say that asking for inflated numbers is too high of an ask. No, it's not. It's a realistic ask. And like you just said, Brian Daboll is the best passing game coordinator in the league, in my opinion. He's the best guy when it comes to passing the football as a coach.
With one of the
With with
from
Mike
Mike
Kafka, a guy
Kafka,
that comes
yeah.
from one of the best passing offenses in the league in Kansas City. So no, I don't think I'm asking for too much. I want him to keep it below 14 or 15 interceptions because if he's really going to be slinging the ball, yeah, I'm honestly going to expect like a 2 to
We're gonna
1
see all that.
touchdown to interception ratio. I'll be fine with that if it equals more than 8 wins. That's a great season from Daniel Jones, and that's what I want from Daniel Jones. I don't want a decent one from him.
But are you fearful that that type of season that you just said is very likely?
If you asked me this question a couple months ago, I would have said yes. No. I am. I'm not fearful. I know that type of season is very likely. What I'm fearful of, and I think what you actually meant to ask was that type of season is likely, and they resign him. I think that's what you probably meant to ask, right?
Yeah.
And if you asked me a couple months ago, with the addition of the resigning part, I would have said yes. If you ask me now, which is what you're doing, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna put some faith in John Mara for the first time in a long time, and I'm gonna say that he's actually letting Joe Shane build this
I would
team.
agree.
Right?
I would agree.
And so because of that, I'm like, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, if he has a decent season, they're gonna go out there and try and find their own quarterback.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I mean, so do you think because it's very this regime is obviously very unpredictable. We don't know them yet, right? This is not we haven't even gone through even half of a season with this new regime. Say Daniel Jones has that season like we talked about, right? We had just about 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 12 to 13 interceptions, like maybe even 14, 15, because obviously,
But how many wins do the Giants have?
I'm gonna say tops eight wins. And remember
What you
that's coming
just
from a
described though is
from a
better.
4-win team.
Yeah, what you just described though is better than what I said was decent. I said decent is like sub 25 was what I said.
Okay.
This is
So
above. I would actually take that. I would take 27 and 12 as a re-signing though. This is where it comes down to.
Right, that's what I was gonna ask you. Do you think they would re-sign him?
It comes back down to how much of the wins was impacted by him.
Mm-hmm.
How much did he do as our quarterback to get us those wins? That's what it comes down to. In fact, that's what it comes down to for all the scenarios I want to clarify because wins are not a quarterback stat. But the reason I mentioned wins when I was like a great season, we have, more than 8 wins. What I mean by that is that he's clearly leading the charge. He is the leader of men of our team. The quarterback is the reason we won those games. There's a couple games where he does what I've been asking for him to do since 2020, where he finally has some game-winning drives, where he finally has some clutch moments, right? These are game-defining, career-defining moments that help you win those games. That's what I'm asking for when I say a win total. So what you just described is actually a stat sheet that I'd be very happy with. But then it comes back down to, all right, in those 8 wins, bro, what did Daniel do to help us get to those 8 wins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another question that we'll have to bring up too. This offseason is going to be such an eventful offseason. such an eventful offseason because we have the Daniel Jones dilemma. We have the Saquon Barkley dilemma. We've got a lot of cap space opening up. So how the hell are we going to allocate that? We and then we don't even know, obviously where we stand as a record, there's going to be so much, and a lot of contracts. There's still going to be guys under contract, but there's a lot of contracts that have like no dead money. So we're going to have a lot of opportunities to get out of some stuff. So, man, this next offseason is going to be so eventful. I'm looking forward to it. But as far as Daniel Jones goes, man, that's it. Namar says that Daniel Jones is my franchise quarterback. We'll see what happens, man. But he has to blow this team away because let me tell you, man, the thought of getting another quarterback in here, fresh, brand new, a new mind, right, and not a guy that's kind of been under a lot of offensive schemes like Daniel Jones has, and not a lot of I guess baggage, right? I guess is the word. Daniel Jones has a lot of baggage. He has a lot of distrust already from a lot of Giants fans in the media and things like that. And, it's already been 4 years. It's really enticing to have sort of, the thought of having another quarterback in here with a fresh mind, no baggage, a clean slate. And for Brian Daboll to bring this guy up is, very interesting. I'm intrigued by it. So it's like, I don't know. Daniel Jones really has to blow me away for me to say that I wouldn't want a new fresh quarterback in here, So, and then on top of that, we have Tyrod Taylor too, who's under contract next season. So even if the Giants somehow miss out on a quarterback next season, if they do that, I will be so pissed off because there are a couple good quarterbacks in this draft coming up. They could still ride out with Tyrod Taylor and wait for the next draft. And I think the next draft after that is Archie Manning, isn't it? Isn't it? No, it wouldn't be because Archie Manning still hasn't got a guy.
I think.
Yeah. There's another dude.
2026.
There's another dude. I can't remember his name, but yeah, man, yeah, but okay. And then there was another topic we talked about. That I wanted to talk about.
There was also a couple comments if you scroll up that I'm sure you probably want to read. Just scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, let me look at the comments real quick, guys. I'm sorry. Jones has all the talent to make all the throws. He does hold the ball too long and been a turnover machine. But then again, he has had the worst play calling ever, the worst coaches, and the worst luck injuries. Yeah. Apparently since 2009. I just saw this in an article not too long ago. Since 2009, the Giants are the most injured team in the NFL. And that speaks volumes. Since 2009. Yeah. Guys, since 2009. This is more than 10 years ago. Okay? This is how bad our freaking injury staff is. And apparently, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are trying to figure out what the problem is. Like I read an article that they're trying to figure out what the issue is and why these guys keep getting hurt so much. I hope they freaking get Batman to go figure this thing out, man, because this needs the best detective in the world. This DJ won't take any team to the playoffs. He will have a few good games, have a few bad games, and he'll be out for the rest of the season due to his injuries. If we have a stout offensive line that we're, I guess, projected to have, right? We should have a decent offensive line, especially if they start to develop,
PFF
right?
actually ranked us as 18th, the 18th
right?
best offensive line in the league, which is
that's an improvement. It's an improvement.
Not just an improvement. It's probably the biggest jump on their list because last year we were the 32nd. We were the worst in the league. So to go from 32 to 18,
and that's off a projection. That means they think highly of our.
Yeah, and that's what a starting projected line of Shane Lemieux at left guard. And I personally think that we'd be better off if we have
and Feliciano at center,
Afidu at left guard. But listen, as always, whenever we bring up PFF, we got to put in a little disclaimer, a little spiel. PFF is a tool in the box that you got to use. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that they say.
Tool in the box.
I don't agree with a lot of the stuff they say. I definitely don't agree with people that use them as the end all be all. But on the other side of the spectrum, I completely disagree with people that say like they're terrible. You shouldn't look at them at all. They're the worst because literally nobody else looks at every single second of every single minute
Right.
of every single play that every single player in the NFL does, except for PFF. They got a weird grading system, but like I said, they're
Completely
useful for some
biased, but
things.
yeah.
Yeah, they're useful for some things, and so it's like, you keep them in mind. You don't let them be the end all be all. You keep them in mind. With
Right.
that being said, but I mentioned 32nd to 18 being such a huge jump because I'm like, I don't even think we made that big of a jump. I think we made a jump, but 32 to 18 is huge, man.
But I'd say
That's
so.
14. That's 14 spots.
I'd say so though.
I would say we're on the cusp of being in that top 20 offensive line, but I got to see us perform before I actually put us into the top
Right.
20 offensive line. I feel like and not even memeing, not even joking. I feel like we have the best young tackle in the game in Andrew Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have what is going to be one of the other best young tackles in the game in Evan Neal. I feel like we have, I want to say, a top 10 right guard in the NFL, and an overall guard, I'd say top 20, but right guard, top 10 right guard. We have 3 positions on lockdown. I am really, really super unsure about center. And I'm be honest with you guys, if that center position is bad, it could really mess up everything. We
Mm-hmm.
just gotta hope and pray that's not bad. And Shane Lemieux would be a average, below average starter. You don't need him to be great as
Mm-hmm.
long as he's not messing up, making horrendous mistakes next to Andrew Thomas. But I do personally believe we should put the rookie in there, Azidu, I think.
Zito, yeah, yeah, me as well, and I think that'll make a big jump as well. And you know, if you say it's a big jump, and I guess I would agree with you, but I at the same time I don't. I feel like that's out of projection, right? Out of projection because obviously with the Giants things go downhill real fast. But as out of projection, I'm not too mad about it because if you look at last year, right? We literally had one good offensive lineman. That was Andrew Thomas, who was dealing with his own injuries, but he had a really good season, right? There was not one other offensive lineman that played well that whole the whole season. You had one good offensive lineman. If you look at the top 15 offensive lines in the NFL, if you go down the list, you use PFF, because they're probably the only ones that really have a list of top offensive lines. If you look at them, some of them only have 3 good offensive linemen. The other 2 are like no names, right? But they're still like top offensive lines. You know, the Giants upgraded in multiple. I mean, they upgraded right tackle, they upgraded right guard. I'm not going to say they really upgraded center. I'm not going to say that yet, but if eventually they add a Zudu in there, that's an upgrade at left guard, in my opinion. So that's 3 other positions they upgraded, and I think having 4 good offensive linemen can put you 18th or even higher if they play up to potential. I think it's graded nicely right now. I think the Giants fan in me is like, slow your roll because what can go wrong will go wrong, with
Mm-hmm.
this with injuries and things like that, especially with the offensive line. But I like 18th, and I would hope that off the bat, of course, you want to see this team be above average, right? But 18th is great to start. If they play like the 18th best offensive line day one, that's a huge improvement. Like you said, it's a huge jump. It'll be a huge improvement on the field. You're going to be able to see it. Daniel Jones is going to be able to see it. He's going to feel it.
Saquon is going to be able to see it.
Exactly, and it's gonna pay dividends, and eventually you're gonna get in the groove of things. You're gonna get through those first couple of weeks of jitters and go through your mistakes, stuff like that. The first maybe 4 or 5 weeks in the season, then you start to get things rolling after week 6, and boom, you're a top 15 offensive line, and your offense is steadily going. So I could hope that I could hope that their offensive line starts 18th, man. But that's yeah, I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Jones has a tough chin. All that head busting he hasn't gone through doesn't fold. Hopefully, Daboll and Calker can get him. Just become a better Flacco. Yeah, Flacco's not a bad comparison to Daniel Jones. Really not a bad. Maybe a tougher Flacco, but that's not a bad comparison. I wouldn't say
In
I
what sense? You got to be talking passing because definitely not,
yeah.
the rushing aspect at
No,
all.
not the rushing aspect. Just play style, I guess I would say. I mean, Flacco was never. I don't. Flacco wasn't game manager to me.
I'm gonna keep it
He
real. I
pushed.
would have to go back and look at some Flacco games.
He pushed the ball downfield too. He had a lot of burners on the Ravens. He was able to get the ball downfield, man. I mean, I don't even think he didn't have a great arm, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't have a great arm. He was just able to push the ball downfield. I mean, that's not a terrible comparison. I guess I've seen worse. Um, so many teams had bounce back years with new coaching. The Giants have a big chance to get the team to bounce back. I hope so. There are a lot of obviously it's boom or bust when it comes to new regimes that they want to win now. I mean, as much as this team says they want to rebuild, as their draft says they want to rebuild, man, but I don't know, man. It's just the freaking firepower they brought in from the coaching staff tells me that they want to win soon. They want to start winning soon. So Joe isn't finished with the free agency. I mean, I would think he is. We have no money. We're broke. 9-8 for the Giants. That would be fantastic if we went 9-8. How many touchdowns do you think Saquon Barkley will have? That's just like who the hell knows?
Predict it, bro.
Who the hell knows? I mean, I wish I can give an answer for you, but it'll mean nothing. Does 10 wins do it for you? Oh my God, what?
Yes,
of
yes,
course.
It does.
What?
Yes, it does.
If this team finds a way to get 10 wins, even with the schedule, I mean, I know the schedule is easy. Even with this schedule, if this team finds a way to get 10 wins, re-sign Daniel Jones. Well, obviously, if the like Coach said earlier, if the wins were because of Daniel Jones, if the majority of the wins were because of Daniel Jones, but damn, if this team gets 10 wins, I might streak down my block, bro, for real. That's how long it's been for the Giants had anything successful happen. The Giants would have to trade way up. I guess this is assuming to get a quarterback. I mean, listen, teams do it all the time. Where was Kansas City when they got Patrick Mahomes? They were like 20 something. They were in the late 20s. They were like 27th or something like that. They traded all the way up to freaking 12 or 10, something like that. And I always get those two mixed up. Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes went 10 and 12. I just don't know who went 10 and 12. But I think it was Patrick Mahomes first and then Deshaun Watson. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, do what you got to do. I don't know why people are so afraid of trading up for a star quarterback. They do it all the time. They trade up for Josh Allen too. Josh Allen was one of the worst freaking quarterback prospects I've seen that go in the top 10 in a very long time. Okay. And besides Daniel Jones, but Josh Allen was bad, man, and Buffalo traded up for him, so there's that. If we were going quarterback, I want Archie Manning. Yeah, you have to wait a long time, buddy. He hasn't even picked. Yo, him picking a college team is like watching paint dry, dude. It's like never gonna happen. He's never gonna pick a freaking team. Jesus.
No, I love it though. You know why I love it? Because they're so smart with milking it for as much money as possible. The more airtime he has, the more they're making.
He was
NIL money and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's gonna go, but like I know. Shout out to Diggy. This man was so happy when he had the LSU visit.
Yeah, he was throwing with the LSU receivers. He was also throwing with UGA receivers. He was throwing with UGA. He was throwing with LSU. Where are the other teams that he's thinking about? Like some West Coast teams too. I'm like, I don't think he just seems like a West Coast guy. And Arch Manning and the family don't want nobody going to the West Coast. Because Eli didn't go. So. They want to keep him in the Midwest to Eastern. So, I don't know where he's gonna go, but we'll see what happens. We can definitely get a quarterback next year. All we need is Jones to become a Flacco or Alex Smith. Alex Smith is a good comparison. I mean, a good, I guess, expectation. But Alex Smith is like the best game manager like the NFL has probably seen in a very long time. And like we talked about earlier, Daniel Jones is not a game manager. We don't feel like he is a game manager. I think he's more of a gunslinger type quarterback, and although Daniel Jones doesn't really have the gunslinger type arm, right? He doesn't have the deep arm speed. He does have really good short to intermediate accuracy and throw power. He throws tight spirals from short to intermediate. He can sling the ball there on a quick slant and stuff like that. He can throw that well, but I mean, the deep balls obviously can be a little bit of an issue. But I mean, I guess you could say he needs to be an Alex Smith, but that's assuming that he may have to be like a game manager. I don't really want him to be a game manager. Let's see, Berman Life Community Stadium, building the trenches real good. Yeah, man, building the trenches is something that this team needed desperately. I'm glad that Joe Shane took the time in one offseason to freaking Like Joe Shane did more for the offensive line in this offseason than Dave Gettleman ever has, quite frankly. Thomas, Neal, Lemieux, Azudu, McKeithen, Glowinski, Feliciano, way better than we have had easily. Yeah, it's even the depth guys. Like some of these depth guys would have been our starters in other years.
Yeah, that's another thing I've been saying for a long time, right? On everywhere, especially on this podcast, where I'm like, if Shane Lemieux and Matt Pert, who are currently our starters, could be our backups, we're in a good position. Because they're not good starters, but you bet your bottom dollar they're gonna be some of the best backups the league has ever seen, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man. I've been watching this Marcus McKeithen guy, and I know he gets overshadowed by Josh Azudu a lot because obviously Azudu is the other the higher pick for North Carolina. But I like McKeithen, man. I really like his I guess potential. 6'6", 340. Dude is freaking massive and moves so well. Like he moves almost on par with Josh Azudu, and Azudu is like a good 30 pounds, 20 to 30 pounds less than him as far as weight goes. So, I mean, how much does Azudu weigh? Do you know off the bat?
I don't know off the top of my head now.
But I'm pretty sure.
But he has like way more experience, not only at the guard, but just everywhere.
Oh yeah, everywhere on the line. But I mean, Marcus McKeithen moves so well for his size, man. 340, 6'6". I mean, I like the potential. I hope somehow he finds a way to be. I hope he develops really well because that would be an absolute stonewall wherever he plays. Pause, KB. What did I say? Oh no. Rewind the tape. I don't know. This was at 10:24.
Did you skip over Coach Ed's comment, or did you get to that?
No, I'm gonna look at it right now. But I just saw Mike Nixon say pause, KB. So I want to know what I said there. What up, Coach Ed? He says trench warfare is key to everything our squad can do. After the trash from last year, we need them to step up and allow skills to produce. I 100% agree, man. 100% trench warfare. Yeah, obviously. The offensive line is something that obviously this team has struggled at for a very long time. And if we can honestly get this offensive line to play on par, it's going to help every phase of the game. Like I always say, this offensive line is one of the most underrated yet most important positions in football because it's going to control the time of possession. Therefore, it's not only going to help your offense in controlling the opposing defense, it's going to help your defense stay off the field, get the rest they need, and not, if your defense is not on the field, that's a good thing, So, the offensive line, trench warfare, and especially the defensive line. Defensive line, obviously, for the past couple of years have been playing pretty well. So, I mean, hopefully they don't decline too much. And obviously we upgraded with Kayvon, and we have Aziz in there, and then Dex and Leo as well. So, Kid Blue are happening. Ronnie Barr not giving proper treatment to players when they are treated. I don't know what you mean by that, Namar. I'm sorry, man.
I think he's saying another thing I've been saying for a while, which is find Ronnie Barnes. I don't care that he's one of the most respected, doctors in the league. People go to him for his opinion and whatnot. KB's just said a couple minutes ago, we're the most injured team since 2009. Clearly, he's not doing something right for us.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. The Earl said, okay, this is an interesting question because I heard this on Talking Giants or I listened to their podcast. Do you think the Giants will keep 2 rookie tight ends? I think it would be a mistake.
Daniel Bellinger tight end 1 agenda. That's
for sure.
That's my only response to that.
Do not get me wrong. Of course, Daniel, and he needs to change his number immediately because 45 is ugly. All right, ugly for my. I don't want to see Will Ty's number out there. Okay, but two rookie tight ends. I think that would make no sense, honestly. To have Austin Allen on the roster but not on the practice squad doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I'm hearing right now that Jordan Akins is actually moved up to team 2. This is from Talking Giants from Justin. So if I'm wrong, blame Justin Pennick. All right, it says full name. If I'm wrong, blame Justin Pennick because he said this. He said that Jordan Akins was taking second team reps, and it was Ricky Seals-Jones taking third team reps with Austin, and Austin Allen has been moved everywhere. They're trying to see where they, where he really fits at. So he's been working a lot with first team, second team, third team, whatever. But it wouldn't make any sense, even though Ricky Seals-Jones hasn't been all that, the cracked out to be. Even Jordan Akins is outperforming him. It wouldn't make any sense to to keep 2 rookie tight ends and just cut a veteran. You keep the 2 veterans. If you want to start Daniel Bellinger, obviously that's obviously the better move, the best move. And you put Austin Allen on the practice squad. It wouldn't make any sense to put 2 rookie tight ends in there, although it would be fun, right, to see 2 new faces in there. It would be pretty fun to do that. Obviously, we always root for the underdog. We always root for undrafted free agents, right? But this just doesn't make a lot of sense. So we'll see what happens. You can still keep him, just keep him on the practice squad. So, Daniel Bellinger, tight end number 1. Yes, sir. Bellinger would definitely get some great production if he creates separation. I don't even think he needs to really create separation, Tommy. I know a lot of people are used to that, especially Giants fans, because of Evan Ingram and what we had in him since 2017. But tight ends really don't need to create separation. We talked about this last week when we talked about comparing Daniel Bellinger to Jason Witten. Jason Witten's not a guy that creates separation, but what he did was find soft spots in the zones. He always found a way to get open. He had great hands. He was a great blocker like Daniel Bellinger is as well. And if Daniel Bellinger can really encapsulate, what Jason Witten was, I don't care about him creating separation. We have plenty of guys to do that. That's what we drafted Wan'Dale Robinson to do. We still have Darius Slayton for I don't know how long we do. We have guys that can create separation. And Jordan Akins is a receiving tight end. He's a guy that he's a fast tight end, Jordan Akins. So is Ricky Seals-Jones, who's a former wide receiver. We've got plenty of guys that create separation. Let Daniel Bellinger do what he does best and just find soft spots in the zones and block in the running and passing game. Let's see. Why does this thing keep going down? Okay. Alex Smith is a check down Charlie. When you said you were streaking down the street, I mean, no, I wasn't.
That's
I wasn't.
not a pause,
yeah,
bro.
I'm not pausing. That was literal.
That's
that
not
was
a
literal,
pause.
Mike. That was literal. I'm telling you right now, if the Giants get 10 wins, I'm streaking down the street. I'm streaking down the street. I'm not recording it though, so you'll just take my word for it, and I will lie about it. Cut Darius Slayton. I don't like him. Why though? Why? Okay, I guess this is another conversation we could have, Kush. Darius Slayton. I guess this is another conversation we could have. Darius Slayton.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, Darius Slayton. Potential number 5 receiver. Okay, number 5 receiver gonna be making $2 million, but how much of a value is him being that number 5 receiver, as opposed to how much he's making? Is it worth?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with this. I thought where you were gonna go was the fact that we have injuries to our top 3 receivers: Kenny Golladay.
I was eventually gonna get there.
Sterling Shepard.
I was gonna make a
Darius
case.
Slayton is still not being used as the placeholder. Number 1. He's on the bench, so to speak. He's not with any type of injury. They're just not using him with the first team. And it's post June 1st. I thought you were gonna go to route that they're probably gonna want to shop this man soon.
I honestly just blanked that. I didn't even notice that, especially reading all those articles. I'm seeing freaking Alex Bachman work with this second.
Yeah. Darius Slayton is better. He's not the guy, but he's better
than
everybody
what I've
else
heard,
that's been participating.
But you know what I've heard though. Now that you mention it, you know what I heard, that he's dropping the ball in an insane rate, more than he's used to. And we talked. We weren't really making videos together during that Daniel Jones draft, were we? No, we weren't.
2019?
No, yeah, 2019
no,
when we
drafted.
I
started in 2019. I think we started doing this stuff together towards the end of 2019.
Yeah. So when I was when they drafted Darius Slayton and I watched Darius Slayton, I said, right off the bat, I said, this guy sucks. Why did I say that? Because his catch rate from Auburn was garbage. He literally was a 50-50 ball guy, but not like Kenny Golladay 50-50 ball guy. It was 50-50 ball, if he'll catch it or not. Any sort of dude had a terrible catch rate. Dude would be wide open on freaking streaks and just drop it, similar to what we saw in that freaking what was it,
Washington
Philly
game?
Washington game. Oh my god. But that type of stuff was very prevalent in Auburn. Somehow, some way, dude, he it clicked for him. He wasn't dropping the ball as much. His rookie year, he didn't drop nothing. His rookie year, he didn't drop anything. And then I don't know, all of a sudden his Auburn self, his former self from Auburn started creeping up on him, and now he's back to his college days, dropping the ball. And now what we're seeing in camp is Darius Slayton dropping the ball at an alarming rate, like way more than even when he started as a rookie. When he was a rookie in training camp, he was already dropping the ball. I said to myself, I remember saying in the video, I'm like, "Yup, that's exactly what I saw at Auburn, dropping the ball constantly." And it was like
shout out to Diggy in the chat.
50 ball. But Diggy, my boy, I'm trying to catch up in the chat, Diggy. So if I don't see you, my bad, man.
There's also a super chat you need to get.
Oh,
but adding on to that, so combine what I started out with, which you said you were blanking on, and then what you just brought up, which I was blanking on. So combine the fact that our top 3 receivers have been out. He has not been taking reps with the first team for whatever reason. He actually just hasn't been, like, they haven't used him that much. I don't even know if participation is the right word. Just utilization hasn't been there throughout, OTAs and the mandatory minicamp and whatnot. And now you're saying the fact that this man is dropping balls at an alarming rate, and it's post June 1st. Like, listen, bro, it's very possible that they could look to trade him, but I don't know what team is going to want to trade for him, or
not for $2 million.
We'll see.
And then, the only way that we trade him is that we pay most of the salary, but then, well, why would you pay him? Why would you trade him at that point? Let me get the super chat. Thank you so much, Michael R, for the $2 super chat, man. He says, "Do you keep DJ if they lose or win their first playoff?" Let me get this straight right now, Michael R. If we make the playoffs, I'll be extremely happy. I already said if we get 10 wins, I'm streaking down my road. Mike, he was terrible at Auburn. Darius Slayton was so garbage at Auburn. He was a literal gem in the draft because nobody could have saw Darius Slayton coming. Let's see. Now it all depends. Michael R, you have to really think about how they even got to the playoffs in the first place. Was it because of Daniel Jones? We talked about this earlier. Kush mentioned it when we talked about the wins that the Giants may be projected to have. Like, if the Giants end up with 9 wins, do you keep Daniel Jones? I mean, that's a question. But then the next question after that, to answer that other question, is how many wins were attributed to,
how many wins did he contribute to? How many wins were because of him? Where did he have a great impact in? Is he finally having those clutch game-winning drives we've all been waiting for? Is he finally just having clutch moments in general? Is he, helping us blow a team out? Is he a complete positive effect, no questions asked in those wins?
So I guess to really answer your question, Michael, it's not really about the playoff. Unless he stinks up the joint in that playoff game and is terrible, like Lamar Jackson's first playoff game. I'm just throwing a shot there. I'm just playing. I guess against the Chargers, that was a terrible playoff game. But unless he really stinks up the joint in that said playoff game, I'm not really gonna put it on him if he led the team there. If he led the team there in the first place, the reason why this is not a playoff team. Let's get this straight. Okay, if this team makes the playoffs, obviously something went right and somebody broke out. And if it was Daniel Jones and he loses that playoff game, but doesn't lose really because of him, it's just they just lose because they lose and they shouldn't have been in the first place. I really wouldn't put that on Daniel Jones, but if he got us there, I'd probably re-sign him. If he got us there. But then another question arises: how much would Daniel Jones even take? Like, how much would you offer Daniel Jones, and what would be acceptable for him to take? Because let's put a scenario out there. You can let's say Daniel Jones takes us to the playoffs at nine wins, right? Takes us to the playoffs, and let's just say that a lot of the wins were because of him. He's the reason why we're in the playoffs. And he loses. We're one and done. We lose and we're out the playoffs. And the Giants are like, oh man, I mean, we can really keep you around. We got the cast, so we can keep you around. How much do you offer Daniel Jones, and would he take that said offer? I mean, you wouldn't creep anything more than 35. You wouldn't creep anything more than 35.
Who's to say what in the world the quarterback market is going to be in next year, bro?
Yeah, but like, he doesn't really count towards the quarterback market, in my opinion. He can ask for 50 million because right now the quarterback market's
I'm
right
not
around
giving him
there.
50 million.
No, nobody.
Even if
I
he
don't even think
has,
his
even if
agent
he
would say you're
has,
getting.
listen, bro. Even if he has that elite season, bro, like even if he has an elite season, I'm not giving you 50 million, bro. Patrick Mahomes, you're not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick
Dude,
Mahomes is making 50 million, bro.
let me tell you right now, I would be scared to even give Patrick Mahomes 50 million. I would be scared to give any quarterback. I would be scared to give anybody 50 million, dude. Let alone Daniel Jones. You want me to give Daniel Jones 50 million? Hell no. I would be scared to give 35 because right now you look at Carson Wentz. He's making 30 with Washington right now.
I'll say this though, to keep a long story short, basically with Michael R. Super Chat question, like KB said, a lot of it goes back to how much he contributed to those wins. But if we're in the playoffs, I think it's not a bad decision to re-sign the guy to help you get there. Basically, if we're in the playoffs, bro, we had a great season,
2
so
years,
he's probably
60
gonna get
million.
re-signed.
2 years, 60 million.
I don't think he's taking that. There's no long-term security there.
Right. Yeah, but is anybody else gonna give him big money? No, he's gonna get backup offers.
I mean, listen, bro. Don't rule out this. Baker Mayfield's about to go to Carolina, it looks like, and Deshaun Watson's getting more and more allegations by the minute. Maybe Daniel Jones ends up a Cleveland Brown, bro.
Yeah, but wouldn't they take like Jimmy G?
I don't know.
Yo, Deshaun Watson thing it just makes me laugh, dude. Yo, shout out to Baker Mayfield.
D says, "Are you buying into the hype that Saquon's putting on himself?" We kind of answered this earlier. My answer to that is no. What I'm buying into is that he'll have the opportunity.
Yeah,
he'll have the opportunity to do what he's saying that he's gonna do.
Yeah,
is he actually gonna do it? I don't know, man. But he's gonna have the best opportunity possible in a long time.
Yeah, we prefaced that by saying, because I said I'm guaranteeing him the opportunity because I think it was Mike Nixon. He asked if we think that Saquon Barkley will have he said he thinks Saquon Barkley will have a 2,000 scrimmage yard season. I said it's very possible with how much they said they're going to use Saquon Barkley and utilize their running backs and things like that, and add Saquon Barkley to the offense, make him a focal point. Not that it's going to happen, but he has the opportunity to do so. So as far as the hype goes, I'm not going to flat out say that he's going to have all that production, but he's going to be put in position to have that production. If you catch my drift. But
and I'll say this as well. I just saw Coach Ed's comment on the previous thing in Super Chat. I don't know why that slipped my mind. Yeah, that's actually what I do. I'd franchise tag him if we made the playoffs. Because the thing with DJ as well is we need to see
about that.
Yeah, we need to see consistency, right? Like that's the second biggest thing. So I'm gonna franchise tag him to see if he could pull it off again.
When was the last time we franchise tagged the player?
Was it JPP?
Was it JPP or Landon? No, we didn't franchise Landon.
We didn't franchise Landon. It was JPP, I think.
Yeah, back in.
So put the franchise on him, and believe it or not, I'm still drafting a quarterback. Like I'm still looking to draft a quarterback, even though I franchise tagged this man. So.
Oh, I would still be looking for it as well. I mean, franchise tag is a 1-year deal. So, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I would probably do the same thing. And I wouldn't pull a Kirk Cousins, but like Washington Kirk Cousins, they franchised that guy like 4 times. And they're lucky. They franchised at the time the quarterback market wasn't that big. They franchised that guy four times in this market. They'd be paying that guy like $70 million, bro. Oh God. Unless DJ has an MVP caliber season, he's getting franchised if he's at 30 and yeah, agreed. 30 and 10 is a really good year. To have a 3-to-1 interception ratio.
Yeah, 30 and 10 is
that's actually pretty damn
good.
That's elite, yeah. That's really elite. To cut down your interceptions.
I don't know if I'd say elite. It's on the cusp of it maybe, but that's it's elite for DJ. It's elite for DJ.
Elite for DJ. I say upper echelon. Not elite, but upper echelon. Let's see. Why does my chat keep doing that? It just like I'm scrolling and it just goes all the way down to the bottom. Let's see. If you make this,
is there another topic we got on deck?
Not really. It is getting towards that time, guys. But if you guys have any more comments, questions, takes, let us know. and we'll give our best takes on him, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But great stream. I mean, even though we really didn't have too much to talk about, you guys kept it moving. So, Kirk Cousins stealing money, I wouldn't say that. Man, Kirk Cousins is a pretty.
It's exactly what Diggy said, bro. He's a bag getter. He got the best agent in the game, and nobody wants to admit it.
Kirk, I think Kirk is a good quarterback, dude.
He is a good quarterback. He got the best agent in the game. That man stays getting him guaranteed bread, bro.
That makes
guaranteed bread every single year.
Well, another thing is, he doesn't really get hurt like that, right? He doesn't get hurt.
Not really.
So, I mean, the best ability is availability. If you're on the field, they're going to pay you.
But it's guaranteed bread.
Well, if you're guaranteed on the field all the time and not getting hurt, you're going to get that money.
Some people without injury problems don't be getting guaranteed bread, bro.
That's true.
They be getting like a whole bunch of incentives and stuff.
That's true. Just got on. Let's get the party started. Cookie, we're about to freaking end this thing, bro. It's 10:46. What are you doing? You just wake up for your nap or something, man? Come on, man. Too much cookies, dude.
While there is, I guess, any type of football related questions popping up in chat, this Ezra Miller situation is crazy, bro.
Yo, what's up with DC? What's up with your DC boys, bro? What's up with
First this man. No. Don't you ever dare say that to me again. This is Warner Brothers, bro. This is Warner Brothers. Let's not act as if this is not all Warner Brothers. It's always been the studio. Because first of all, this is going back a little back to 2016, but I support my boy, the Cyborg actor, because he faced mad racial discrimination on the filming of all the movies, and that was from Warner Brothers. So it doesn't surprise me a studio that can't have a functional, staff management is out here hiring some questionable actors. But this is crazy, bro. He started out a couple months ago just assaulting people on Hawaii. And that was terrible, but it was a meme for a long time, bro.
Did somebody record that? Did somebody record him getting arrested?
Yeah, they were both times. And then after that, now he kidnapped somebody that he's been grooming, and nobody knows where he is.
I mean, it's not funny.
This is gonna be it's not funny.
But this guy is
But this man is a real life supervillain, bro. Yo, he's out here playing a superhero, but he's a real life supervillain. He needs to be found. They need to have the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, bro,
Batman
MI6. They need to find this man, and they need to lock him up in the real world equivalent of Arkham Asylum. Because how you groom somebody, kidnap them, and disappear off the face of the earth, bro. That is
a real menace to society, bro.
Activities, bro. That is atrocious acts, bro. That is planned out, premeditated activities.
Now, in all seriousness, by him saying implying that he's grooming somebody.
Also, another reason I'm saying Warner Brothers is because before he was the Flash, he was hired for the Harry Potter movies, the Fantastic Beasts movies. Don't forget that.
And I mean, that he groomed somebody. That's implying that this is a underage person, right? Like, yeah. Oh God! So now we're dealing with he's a pedophile. He's a pedophile I don't know if they're
currently underage, but the reports are saying he's been grooming her since she was 12.
Oh my God! So he's a pedophile too, dude. What the freak? Well, that's your guy. That's your Flash. Typical DC had to find a new character for the same freaking a new actor for the same character.
I know.
Typical freaking DC.
I'm not even saying this as a joke, as a clapback. This man cannot take serious situations seriously, bro. He got to make a joke about it, bro. Cannot take serious situations
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
But yeah, no, Warner Brothers, man, they're terrible. They fired Johnny Depp. They fired my man Johnny Depp, but they kept this dude on, bro. Once again, Warner Brothers.
Hey, they got rid of Amber Heard. They got rid of Amber Heard.
After 5 years of fan pressure and a petition that got tens of thousands of
better
votes.
Late than never. Give them their
not
flowers.
Better late than never. They're not giving back Johnny his job back, bro.
Listen, all I'm saying is that you can blame Warner Brothers all you want, but it's just DC, dude. It's just DC.
And all I'm saying is it's not even a clapback. You can't stop joking, and that's actually really terrible considering the situation.
What are you talking about? I was talking about Amber Heard and all that stuff, but I'm just saying in general. in general.
Yo,
I just shifted
before I get canceled. I am not associated with what he's saying, yo.
What are you talking about? I shifted the conversation. I'm talking about DC in general. I'm talking about how you guys have different Batmans, different Supermans, different everything.
Once again, I'm not associated with the fact that he's making light of a terrible situation. Please keep this.
I have no idea
Giovanni of Kid Blue alone.
Oh my god,
please.
this man's trying to frame me. What are you talking about? I'm not even talking about Ezra anymore.
There's video proof.
I'm not even talking about Ezra anymore.
Well, once again, yes, all Warner. But listen, bro, I hate Disney, but I would pay for anything for Disney to buy out the rights to all DC movie making stuff. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Just give it to HBO Max. HBO Max has done such an incredible job shifting to actually what I like about them, bro. I love the Peacemaker series. That thing was just pure entertainment.
I haven't watched that yet.
And I like the 2020 Suicide Squad movie. That was really good.
That one was good.
Like I feel like the way to go if they want to do anything, but I haven't been invested in this since like a long time, a couple years. But I think the best thing to do would just be to move that entire thing to HBO Max because like Snyder Cut was there and that was really good. Like everything that's been good in a long while has been on HBO Max. Plus the Blue Beetle movie, which I'm really hype about because I saw his costume. For Blue Beetle? Yeah, and I saw his costume and it looks so good. That was supposed to be an HBO Max exclusive. Once again, everything good is from HBO Max, but because of the hype that it's getting, they're considering it, to be released like a regular movie in theaters. So,
yeah, I wouldn't advocate for them to be bought by Disney because DC has like what I like about DC is like they're more realistic with like the dark aspect of things, and I feel like Disney buys them out, they're gonna be more kiddish.
In charge or something, but like whoever's running HBO Max, they just do a way. You could tell the difference. They do a way better job with the budget and like with the stories and stuff like that.
Yeah. How do you think about that? I mean, I don't know. We're going way off the rails here, but what do you think about the Black Adam trailer and in the movie? What do you think about it?
I don't know how to feel about the movie. I have to wait and see. But what I got excited about with the trailer is that they had Dr. Fate, who's one of my favorite all-time superheroes in there. I love Doctor Strange as well. Obviously, the reason I'm bringing him up is because they're like direct, Strange was copied from Fate and whatnot. Yeah. Both companies did. Both companies
copy each other. Yeah.
So Strange was copied from Fate, but yeah, Fate, as you just said, like Doctor Strange is very, very powerful. Doctor Fate is way more powerful. Yeah. It's not even.
I'm a Marvel guy, but even though I'm a Marvel guy, I acknowledge that DC characters would whoop Marvel characters. I mean, it's just like not even close. And Justice League.
Bro, all you need is Darkseid, right? Like he's a supervillain. Like there was. Because Thanos was copied from Darkseid, but it's not even close because Darkseid's power of the antimatter, it exists in all universes versus Thanos, and we see this in the MCU.
Well, Thanos is nothing without the gauntlet.
He's nothing without the gauntlet, and even if he has the gauntlet, it's only to that universe. Yeah. All Darkseid has to do is transport him to another universe, and he's dead.
Goodbye.
He's dead. So I was really excited I saw Dr. Fate. I don't know if they're gonna give him the true power and presence he should have, because I doubt it, because that would mean he should have his own movie and whatnot.
Yeah.
I like that we saw Adam as well, which was somebody that it's not necessarily I'm a big fan of, but I remember seeing him a lot in the animated films. The DC animated films from the 2000s were great, and the 2010s ones as well were great. They make amazing animated movies. You know why? Because Warner Brothers ain't out here interfering with it. But their animated movies are amazing, bro. Like everybody, Young Justice is amazing. Teen Titans is amazing. That's all under the same animated umbrella. So I was excited for that. I'm excited for the characters. I have no idea what to expect from the actual movie though.
Now, how do you feel about The Rock playing Black Adam? Because I don't know. I can't
from the beginning, I thought it was great casting.
I like it too.
This movie's coming out now, but he was casted 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, I saw a freaking concept art of him as Black Adam long ago. But I don't know. This is just me. I just think of him as a comedian almost every time I look at him. So it's hard to take him seriously as Black Adam sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
I saw the trailer. He was trying to be serious. I'm like,
I know what you're saying. It's the case of the actor's presence is bigger than the character.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with you, because there was times looking at the trailer, I'm like, this is The Rock, bro. This ain't Black Adam.
Yeah, he's about to crack a joke right now,
he's gonna have to pull off as an actor. He's gonna have to pull off such. It is gonna sound maybe a bit of a hot take because it's just a superhero movie at the end of the day. But he's gonna have to pull off his best acting job yet
I
to
would
take
agree.
away from the fact of his personality and what he's known for
Yeah.
to portray this character. So we'll see if that's successful. Cookie Monster, I love the Hulk, but he ain't. Nah, bro, stop it.
No, I mean, DC,
nah, bro,
DC would
stop it.
DC would like a lot of people always say like Justice League versus the Avengers, dude. Justice League wipes the floor.
The Avengers is not even. And I keep saying this. I love them, but they're not even Marvel's A team, which is why I'm really excited to see what MCU does now because they're finally bringing in the two A teams. You know, X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So, Cookie Monster said no. Yeah, who said it? No, Namar said, "Have you guys watched Stranger Things yet?" Yes, I have, and it's freaking. I can't wait for the volume 2. Cannot wait for volume 2. And I'm also caught up on The Boys too, which all these shows are coming out. Love it.
Yeah, bro.
Love it. The Boys looking good
has
too.
been something.
Hell so, yeah. Like, they don't miss, bro. Every episode, bro. I don't even think they've necessarily had
a quote unquote just say I love Daniel Jones. I'm very, very, very objective when it comes to that dude, bro.
It's like your love for Daniel Jones. Like, he just accused you of loving Daniel. He just thrown that on you, just like you love Daniel Jones. Wow. Mike says, "I got a question for y'all. Do you think we'll be starting kick returner or punt returner?" Just to get off the topic real quick, I think it'll be Wandale and Antonio Robinson, kick returner. Wandale will be a good punt returner. Antonio Williams, I don't know. I like the faster, more like smaller guys to be kick returners, but I don't know. Like straight line speed guys. Whoever's the straight line speed guy on the team, I'd probably have as a kick returner. Nightwing could handle the Hulk. Shut up, Logan.
I don't want to say that, but you know there's been actual crossover comics. You know, back when these guys were like just purely comic book.
But they're not canon though, right?
Companies.
They can't be canon though.
It depends what you define as canon, because there's infinite timelines.
Yeah,
right?
infinite timelines. Yeah,
not even just in
right.
the
But
idea,
are they like
they've literally written like hundreds of stories.
Are they like sub stories where they're like, hey, this would be fun to do, but we don't take this seriously. Like it's like
I don't think so, because there's like actual stories involved. Because if you say that, what is your definition of what is canon, what's not? Technically, everything is canon.
Right. No, that's true.
But the only reason I brought it up is because I feel like I have a feeling of the type of person Cookie Monster is, right? Yeah, even in those crossovers, man, he kind of like the obvious answer is Superman. He didn't stand a chance against Superman, but like that's the obvious one. But then Shazam as well. Shazam could beat that man. Just thinking off the top of my head here, probably Martian Manhunter as well. He's super underrated character because they never portray that man properly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep. All right, guys, it's 11 on the dot. We're ready to wrap this up. That was a good discussion. We went into freaking comic books and movies and stuff like that. I like that. I wouldn't mind talking about that at the end of every stream. Get to switch things up a little bit, and we all have common interests. So awesome. Batman can.
Nah, not that.
Dude,
I hate that.
I don't know what the hype is with
so
Batman,
much.
dude. What is the hype around Batman, man? What is the hype around him?
I hate it so much because I'm primarily a Superman guy, and like it's almost like you're directly at odds with people that are like Batman fans. I'm a Batman fan too. I love Batman. Got all the Arkham games. I love him. But like this mystique that was somehow built up around him in the 24th century needs to stop, bro. He cannot solo everybody. All right, and it was done worse by the fact that they actually made him beat Superman in the Batman v Superman movie. I'm like, that's not happening.
Not only that. In some of the comics, he basically has. He's a regular human, right? He has
what's called a Deus Ex Machina. Like he just be having Machina where he just has like answers out of nowhere and stuff like that. Sometimes.
No, but like in some comics that I've seen, I haven't read these comics. I've seen them on like when people show them on YouTube or TikTok or something like that. People showing actual comics. And they're showing like Batman having equivalent strength to like some freaking other superpower hero or something like that. I'm like, no, but why would comic makers do that? I mean, he's a regular human. That's like it takes away the aspect of Batman. He's a human. He doesn't have powers. Why do you have super strength? You know. But I'm sorry. If you shoot Batman, just shoot him in the chin. That's the only unprotected. Someone find a way to shoot this man in the chin, and he's dead. Oh my God, it's exposed. It's exposed. Nobody ever shoots him in the chin. They always shoot him in the chest. Why would you shoot the man in the chest? It's clearly armored. I don't know. I never understood that about Batman movies. Every time I watch a Batman movie, I'm like, just shoot the guy in the chin. It's over. But anyway, guys, that's the stream, guys. Very productive. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week we'll be on Cush's channel, 9:30 same time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. We'll see you guys then. Later.
Peace.